The man who had it all, but gave up everything for a different type of life. The Kosher Vids podcast presents Ari Blau.
Oh, howdy people, and welcome to another Kosher Vids podcast. I got over here my main man, Ari Blau. Ari Blau.
How are you guys?
Is one of a kind. One of a kind.
Kiva is one of a kind. Kosher Vids is one of a kind.
Kosher Vids. Kosher Vids. Ari Blau is a very, very special person. He has worked in Hollywood for many a year. How many years have you worked in Hollywood for?
That was about 5 years. Yeah.
5
years.
5 years. We're talking about on the Jimmy Fallon show, Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart.
And namely James Cordon for about 3 years. And one of his biggest projects was something called Carpool Karaoke, which he was heavily involved in. He was the guy that was the guy driving right behind the guy in charge of that thing, basically. Okay? That's him. So he was very, very into it in the Hollywood scene, and then he dropped it all and became from. I have personal Hakar Satayftari. He came to my camp and just blew our heads open. Literally, this was crazy. I had a dream that I wanted him to speak to camp. The problem was that I scheduled him in after a full day of surfing and power hang gliding. And before we went on those activities, I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And then we were done power hang gliding, and the whole camp is just like bombed out of their wits. They woke up at 5 a.m. They went to sleep at 1, 2, I don't know. And everybody's bombed. And I'm like, oh shoot. It's like Ari called me, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. Like, we have him scheduled to come to our house and speak. And I'm like, oh guys, we got an awesome activity next. Speaker! And all the kids are like, I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be the biggest bust ever. I have to tell you something. He came, and literally for an hour, I think an hour and a half, every single kid was just sitting there, just with their mouths open. Just his sincerity, just how genuine you are, how MStic, and just that the lessons that you have to share is such a great lesson of how, you had the life, which everybody thinks is the life. But no, there's a better life. That's a huge lesson. And that, wow, really struck us hard. And the whole camp, you had us. You just had us. And I have a lot of Akars to type to you, because guys were really on fire after that. It really, that was the beginning of our trip. That was the second day of our trip. And after that, like, that really gave us an energy, the whole camp. Like, it was just like, wow, cool. That guy was so cool. So good to know, good to be with. So shkayach for that, Ari. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, shkayach. Ari, what made you make that decision to become from? Why did you give it all up? For what?
So it's a great question. I get asked it a lot. And actually, the term like "give it up" is something that that from like the beginning, when I decided that I was making this life decision, was something that I said I'm not ever going to call it giving it up. I'm going to call it what I'm taking on, and I guess I'll explain why. I always wanted to be a famous comedian. I always wanted to make people laugh, be in movies, and have a TV show, Saturday Night Live. Looked up to Adam Sandler, Jewish comedian. I actually thought Adam Sandler is what a Jew really should look like growing up. Like, I grew up completely like secular, like I was not religious at all. Mm-hmm. And I started doing comedy when I was in college. I was living in New York, and I went to NYU where I studied filmmaking, and I was putting out videos online, doing stand up. And I started, I had an in at Jimmy Fallon when he had not the Tonight Show, but he had Late Night with Jimmy Fallon on NBC. Okay. And then I was with Jon Stewart on Comedy Central for a little bit. And then I made the move to Hollywood. I felt like if I'm really going to do it, I got to, jump on the springboard and come out to LA. And so when I got here, I was, doing comedy. And then a friend of mine from college said, we're looking. She was one of the production managers for the new Late Late Show with James Corden, and she said we're looking for production assistants, which is like an entry level position into the show. And I was friends with her in college, and she said, we're looking. Would you like to do it? Do you want to come work for James Corden? I had no idea who James Corden was at the time, and I don't think the entire world probably didn't know, unless you were like from London. You really didn't know who this guy was.
Right.
And this is going back like over 3 years ago. And I took it, and I was like, I'm finally here. Like, I'm in LA, I'm in Hollywood, I'm on a comedy show. It's CBS, it's America's #1 network. I'm gonna work my way up, and eventually I'm gonna be like James Corden. I'm gonna have my own show. And little by little, I started like seeing something's off with the people on staff. Like, everybody at the bottom always wanted to be at the top. And everybody at the top was always like super stressed out and unhappy.
They just seem to lose their minds once they hit
like losing their minds is like a real understatement. Like, and I guess the world sees it because you see it in tabloids, like or you see it like on the news, like this celebrity, committed suicide, or this celebrity is going through the 5th divorce, or it's not a shock that. It wasn't a shock to me personally, like when I started seeing it, because I was like, okay, yeah, there's not normal people in Hollywood. I think that's a given, even though that some people still get shocked when like something does happen. They're like, I can't believe it, not that one. But it's like you have to open your eyes. Like it's a lot worse than what you see like on the news. And I started seeing it behind the scenes.
Can you share with me? You told me a bunch of stories in the past. There was one great example of just seeing crazy people in Hollywood that have just lost their minds. They're just not normal people, just empty, depressed. I remember you telling me on the Carpool Karaoke that they're what was her name? The singer.
Yeah, Britney Spears.
Okay, yeah. So can you tell us that story?
Yeah.
When you told me that, I was like, wait 1 second. She's very famous, and what? She's that nuts?
Yeah.
Like she probably. I don't watch her, know her, whatever. But like, I've definitely heard of that name before.
Yeah.
It's a big name, and like you would think, oh my gosh, like somebody respectable and stuff. And then when you told me that story, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, ew.
Yeah.
She's a baby.
That's an understatement.
She's so babyish.
Yeah.
Well, can you share that story, please?
Yeah. So Carpool Karaoke, for people who don't know, James driving around in a car with a celebrity, usually a singer, and they sing songs. He interviews them. These get millions of views on YouTube. Right.
He was the car he was the guy in back, that white car or something.
It was my Scion XB, my brown Scion XB was like always behind James.
That was you.
Like the first I guess like maybe like 20 carpools. It was like always behind him.
Right. And it was a big problem. So how many cars were there?
Yeah.
You told me like 10, 11.
Sometimes there's like 7 cars behind me, or there's a car in front of James. It's a whole process and a lot of pre-production goes into, a lot of planning, a lot of money gets spent on Carpool.
What are we talking about for one Carpool Karaoke?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million, can be spent on just producing Carpool. 10 minutes of television for this. And a lot of that goes into like licensing the music, but a lot of that also goes into like getting the crew together, the logistics, permits, a whole list of things. So the day comes to film Carpool Karaoke with Britney Spears, and the staff is excited. I wasn't, we're doing another Carpool, okay, but a lot of people on staff are like, wow, Britney Spears, like the queen of pop music is coming on the show, and she arrives late, which that's not like that's normal for these celebrities to be on like a late schedule. But she arrives late. She gets in the car with James, and we always leave from CBS studios. For those of you who don't know, with the Carpools, if you went back and like watched a lot of them, it's usually the same route. Just we leave CBS and we go in like a big circle, or if you know the Los Angeles area, we're just basically like circling like the Grove area, like just going around in the Hancock Park neighborhood, Melrose, Highland, all those areas. So we probably don't even get like 2-3 blocks before Britney Spears is like, are we almost done with this? Is this almost over? And like she and James had just been talking, like they didn't even sing a song yet.
Right.
And
she just interrupted the whole thing.
Yeah, she just was like, "Are we almost done?" Like
just like that.
Yeah, just like that, just like that. Yeah, just like as if you were interviewing me, and like in the first like 3 minutes, you were just like,
right.
"Are we?"
Like I'm in the middle of talking to him, and then he's just like, "Yo, are we done with this?"
Yeah, is this
in front
over?
of how many people?
Yeah,
20, 30 people.
Yeah, and imagine like
and crew and $1 million.
So much money had been spent, and so James was caught off guard. And like I have a walkie-talkie, and I can hear through everything what's going on in James's car.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like a director in my back seat, and like he's holding on like to a big monitor that has all of the angles of the GoPros, and and he can hear it too. And like as she said that, we were both like, what the, like how is James gonna respond? And James was like, you know, like we didn't sing a song yet. And she's like, yeah, but are we almost done? Like, how much longer do you think? And James is like, you have watched one of these before, right? Like we usually sing 5 songs. 5 songs could take at least a half hour just to sing the songs. Then there's an interview part. Like usually we're driving around for about 2 hours doing these things. Like, you know, and she's like, well, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm done.
And we're at We're right now at Fairfax, and I think it's Fairfax and 3rd or something. Like we're near like the Kmart shopping plaza over there. Like I remember we were right near the Kmart. Because now James is like, oh, she's like done. She's taking off her mic pack. She's got a hand on the handle. Like
she's just done.
Yeah, she's done. Like
just done.
She wants to stop. Done.
We don't know why.
We don't know why. She's not in the mood. No, she's not ready. Whatever it is. And so she
like a little baby. I'm saying, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Here you are. You're spending $1 million
and this is publicity for her. This is publicity for her. Like, but she doesn't care.
Right.
If she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't want to do it. And so James like pulled over. We pulled over our whole caravan. Now paparazzi had taken pictures. It had already been photographed doing Carpool Karaoke.
Right.
But she's not even doing it.
Right.
And she gets out, rips her mic pack off, finishes taking it off. And her managers get out. They were in like a car behind me in a van, and like they come out, and like now they're schmoozing on the sidewalk, and James is like over with our director, and like and I'm with like James's people, and like James is like, what's her problem? Like what's going on? And he's like, I don't
take her pills.
Yeah, and like our executive producer is like telling James like, don't worry, like we're gonna figure it out. And James is like, I don't want to do this with her anymore. Like it's a bad vibe.
No, he's
like,
upset at her.
Yeah, he's upset at her. Like, don't waste my time. Like I could be doing this with someone else.
Right.
And her people like then here like are telling her like,
oh my God,
you have to do this. You are like we already it's been publicized you're doing it, and what do you mean like you don't want to do it? And I don't know what the conversation was, but I could see her like causing a tantrum like on the side of the street.
Oh my gosh.
And eventually like they convinced her to get back in the car. We convinced James to get back in the car, and there was the most awkward
came out terrible.
Interview. Yeah, awkward, everything.
Did it get a lot of hits?
I think it might have gotten like a lot of hits because it has her name,
Just her name,
but like the actual content itself was not
right.
successful, like in terms of what it could have been, from a producing aspect, and yeah, it was just like, wow, like somebody could just like be like so, like,
wow,
what, I don't know what she's going through, but like, you know, you signed up for this,
right.
Like finish it, like do what you were supposed to do, and
you're telling me about something that happened on the Ellen show that when she was coming, they told everybody, you can't look at her.
Yeah, like they told everyone that like that Ellen's coming on, and like you can't look at Ellen, and you know
you can't look
in
at her.
The eyes. Yeah,
you can't look at her in the eyes. If she'd sneeze.
Yeah, that was like before I knew about like Shomer and Ayim. Right. So I was just thinking like, and I know Ellen's the type that.
Right.
I know some people might be listening right now, like, what? Ellen DeGeneres, not her. Like,
yeah, like I've heard.
But like, she's the type to play pranks on people. So I was thinking, like, this has got to be a prank. Like, this, she's a comedian. This can't be like, like what? And then I'm thinking, how are we going to communicate some of the stuff that we're writing, like with her? And it was a real thing. Like, your security was like, really, like, if you look at her in the eyes and you're not this person, like there's gonna be issues.
I don't have time for you.
Yeah. it's crazy. It really is.
And they were very serious when they came in. The guard, they actually had guards, or what was it? She had her team or whatever.
Yeah,
and they were serious about it.
No,
they were like, hey,
really serious.
Do not look at her in the eyes.
Yeah,
they told you that, right? They were going around.
No, crazy. Yeah, they told like the staff, like if you look it in the eyes, it's like there's gonna be like repercussions. Like I guess people would be fired or something. I don't like.
Okay.
Yeah, but once our staff told us like, hey, this is what their people are saying. Like I was like, okay, it's not a prank anymore. Like,
right?
It's legit. Like, but actually, it makes me think because I was just in New Jersey visiting some family, and a rabbi that I'm very close with set it up so that my wife and I could go get a bracha from the Rosh Yeshiva of Shmuel Kamenetsky. So we went into Philadelphia, and like he actually like was like, hey, you're gonna go to his house and get the bracha, and like we went into his home. Into Erev Shabbos, Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky's house. Right. And like, he made himself available, and that's like one of the gedolim of our time, that he could like make himself available for my wife and I to go and sit down with him and talk to him, and he gave us his time, and we told him about ourselves, and he gave us brachas, but
what a contrast.
Yeah, what a complete contrast that someone like that and like that. That's the Torah, like teaching you, like, and if Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky, the Rosh Yeshiva, can make himself available for people like my wife and I, then there's no reason why like everybody in the world can't just treat everybody with like the same respect, that like we're all human beings. Hashem created all of us. That there's no one that's better than the other. There's no one. You might be more rich, you might be more famous, you might be more learned, but if everybody could just come together and just treat everybody with like that level of respect, like we're all made in the image of Hashem, and you just have to understand that like that's the way that you should be living your life.
Can you?
Fortunately.
Right. You're just remembering also, there's one story you were telling me about One Direction.
Yeah.
There's a band, One Direction. And you were telling me that they came over, and they were just so spoiled and just so not nice or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like you look at that, like when this is a young boys band or something, right?
Yeah.
How old? Like 18 or something?
Yeah, these are like kids that were like probably became famous when they were like 15, 16. I don't know.
Right.
Like
young guys, and you think like, okay, they're like respectful and stuff. You tell me they ordered like how many? You tell the story.
Yeah, no, they came, and they like a lot of celebrities when they come, they have like requests to be in the green room.
Right. And you get one request, whatever you want, and we'll give it to you.
Yeah, they'll get whatever they want.
Right. When you come on the show, they give you one request, and they'll give it to you.
So they got fast food from every single place.
Right.
Pizzas, sandwiches from this place, all different types of Cokes and drinks. And, candy, specific gummy bears that one of them liked. It was like crazy. So much of the food at the end of the day was just like left there. It was like 25 boxes of pizza. Were just
you thought like 200 people were coming with them, so you're like, okay, this makes sense.
And I remember like cleaning up, like, what are you doing with this food?
Like why'd you order like and also you told me that you had to like, it wasn't available. They ordered it last second or something. It wasn't available. You had to.
No, they wanted like a specific, something from I think one of the fast food chains. I forget which one, but like someone had to run out at the last second. Like all of that wasn't enough, and so like, we had to run out and like get that specific thing that they wanted.
And they and they didn't even eat it.
Yeah, no,
they just whatever.
I don't think any of it was really touched.
Right.
Like, it was just like I think it actually comes from just like. Watch what I can do. I can make them do this. Like,
right. But you were a tzaddik. You brought the pizza to downtown to the poor people and stuff.
Yeah, like a couple of my friends and I we decided like this can't just get thrown in a dumpster. Like
wow.
So we took it to. You
had Baltashkes in green, did you?
That's right.
Wow. That's crazy. Where does this come from? Where does this emptiness come from? It's like. You're there, you're at the top of the world, and then you're so empty inside. You're just, all of it is nothing. Like, I'm trying to like pinpoint where that comes from exactly. I see it. I see what you're saying. I haven't been with these people, but I get a clear picture. And I'm saying I live around these type of people.
Yeah.
I definitely live near a lot of very, very wealthy people, and I have noticed that these people who you look up to as a kid and you think, oh my gosh, if only I could be that guy, there's something so empty about these people. That's what I noticed. Like you were saying, 99% of these people are nuts.
Yeah.
Like when you get to know them, at a superficial level, you know, when I'm a little kid, I'm like, oh my gosh, one day I'll become him or I'll become his friend or whatever. And then I got to know them. Like I've gone over their houses, some of them and stuff, and I'm like, these people are not nice. I don't feel good around them. Like there's friction. They're always getting in fights.
Yeah.
They're empty. They're angry. There's something missing. They're not genuine. They're not sincere. They're not real. What is it? What is it when you have that much that just makes you go kooky or just makes you go depressed or so empty? What's going on over there? It's funny.
It's something I think that like even they are trying to figure it out, because the more celebrities that like I would interact with, and even the people who aren't celebrities, because there's a lot of people who are very wealthy working behind the scenes in Hollywood, and I think this could actually be for like, you know, like any people out there in the world, but the more like you try to fill yourself up by getting pleasure and enjoyment out of things that you'll never truly get pleasure and enjoyment out of, like, and that's what they do. Like, you know, if only I have this car, then it's their mindset. Like,
Right.
if I drive that car, because that's what society's telling me, if I don't get that car, if I don't drive a Lamborghini, then I'm not gonna be happy. So they get the Lamborghini, and then society says the next day, oh, if you don't have this new Tesla, you know, you're a nobody. You're like, oh, I just got the Lamborghini, but no, but everybody cares about the Tesla now. Like, okay, so I got to get that. And then you get that. And then somebody says, okay, actually, it's not even about cars anymore. Cars really don't matter. It's these new scooter things or whatever. Like, it's a whole...
You basically have no self-identity is what you're saying.
You're completely controlled. If, like, the world could realize that, like, really Hollywood controls so much of what people do all around the world.
Right.
Like... You know, I talked to my wife about this like so many times, that fashion, for example, like, oh, that's out of fashion, or oh, that's in fashion.
Who
decides that? Like, I remember once we went to like a Goodwill and we were like, you know, giving like clothes away, and like they said like they would buy certain clothes back, and I remember like the woman working behind the thing was like saying like, you know, like we were like my wife had like this very expensive like fancy jacket that she had bought before, and she was giving it to someone, you know, the woman there, and the woman was like, oh, that's not in fashion anymore. She was like offering us like $2. I was like, you know how much that thing costed? And she's like, oh, it's out of fashion now. And then like a year later it comes back in fashion. Who decides it? Hollywood decides that, you know, what's in, what's out. And if you're not, if you're controlled by them, then you're not living your own life. You're just You're just being dictated by other people.
Right. I think it's also that you don't have a self-esteem because you are no one. Because like what you're saying, your self-identity is whatever people want from you. Because it's just all about popularity and fame and stuff like that. So it's all about what people want from you. So, but here's the thing, that you never took your special tools and worked on yourself internally and became a nicer, better. It's not about that. It's all about externals. So inside, you're really nobody. And the more big you become in this fake picture that people portray you as the biggest, like you're Mashiach, you know what I mean? But the more it plays with your brain, because you realize that I'm really nobody. I could be lower than a janitor, because maybe the janitor works on himself more to sweep with a smile or not to get upset when a kid steps on his wet floor. But I'm just a spoiled brat
100%
that goes nuts on scene, that I'm not in the mood of Carpool Karaoke or something. Like, and they know that so deeply. And the more people are like, oh my gosh, Justin, or whoever, it plays with his brain. It's like you don't even know who I am. First of all, I am nobody. So you don't, and if you knew who I was, you wouldn't like me. You know what I mean? And like, you don't really care about me. You care about my looks, or you care about my externals, my money, and that the more that the higher and higher person gets, the more he realizes it plays with his brain. Like, Justin, and he just plays with him. He's like, no, you don't love me. That Justin means I hate you. I hate you, because they don't like me.
Yeah.
They like my car. They like my good looks. They like my... That's not me, though. I think they realize that very deeply, that all that stuff's not really you. It's just given to you as a gift. Good looks. Did you work a stitch for your good looks? You were given to it by Hashem. Hashem gave it to you as a gift. When you come to Shemayim, Hashem's going to say, okay, give it back to me. I gave it to you as a tool. What did you do with your good looks? Were you makarv people with it? Did you you're a good looking guy, so maybe you could be makarv people with it. No? You weren't makarv, now give it back. But that's me. That's not you. That was just a gift to you.
Yeah.
So here you are with a person that has 0, and all these people are saying, oh, Jazza, I love you. I love you. I hate you. I hate you. I love your looks, which is not you.
I love
your car, which is not you.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's all saying, I hate you. I hate you. I would rather have a life of just a regular poor person where I got some good buddies that actually are pretty interested. They're just down for me.
Yeah.
They like having good conversations. They respect me. We grow together. We build together. We have awesome conversations, deep conversations. Like, I'd rather have that life where you feel like you're something. When you have that celebrity life, the higher you get, the more that separation comes of where everybody's like portraying it as real, and the more it plays with your brain that it's so fake. Like, and the more they do it, it's the more like that they say I love you. It's actually more I hate you, because they're just loving something that's not me, and they're not getting the picture. Like
100%.
That's how I portray what goes on. It's just wild. It's like so fake. And so, does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. It's like a complete circle. Everybody at the bottom wants to be at the top. Everybody at the top doesn't want to be at the top, but they don't know why they don't want to be at the top, but they're still there. And it's just a complete circle of just like going around and around of just miserable, people, unfortunately. And the worst part is that it has such an influence and such a pull on society, and it can really attract people and make them think that, like, no, they're not like that, or no, they're actually happy, or I'll use the analogy that, like, you look at someone's Instagram, and someone's Instagram is really not their life. It's nobody is ever going to take a picture like, oh, I'm in a fight with my friend, let me take a photo, and that's a great Instagram post. Like, no, like, my friend and I hiked this mountain, and you don't know what it took to get there, and that's the Instagram photo. But no one's ever going to portray, because they want to look good, and that's not a bad thing. You want to look good to people, but it's that level and then some in Hollywood. Like, they want you to think that, like, this is what you want, because that's what's going to bring you to the movies. That's going to make you watch the show. That's going to make you buy their gear, whatever it is. Like, that's it. And it's a trick. It really is a trick. Like, and it gets a lot of people, unfortunately.
Is there that one guy in Hollywood or something that is okay? Like, that is healthy?
I won't categorize like all of Hollywood, because I don't know, and I didn't see all of Hollywood. I did meet a lot of celebrities.
Give me percentage out of 100. Yeah. What are we talking about?
I'll say, if I had to guess,
what percentage of nuts people are we talking about?
If I had to guess, I would say
nuts people.
99%. Maybe there's a 1%.
99%. Did you ever meet the 1%? You ever meet anybody healthy?
I will say, yeah. I met actually the very first episode of The Late Late Show. We had, they had like booked who's going to be the guest that we're going to bring on for the very first show. Nobody knows who James is. We got to bring someone big. So the talent department booked Tom Hanks. So Tom Hanks, super famous, tons of movies, big guy. And I remember, like, there was a bit actually that we were doing on the show where James was going to reenact like the top 20 movies that Tom Hanks had been in. They were gonna do like all of those, like, snippets of those movies. They were gonna reenact it in like under like 5 minutes or something. Like, it's online, like, you can watch it. And they were using me for like weeks in rehearsals to act alongside James to get like the timing down so that we could pitch it to Tom. Like, hey, here's something we want to do. Because that's how these things work. You can't just like pitch an idea. Like, you have to show him, like, this is what it will look like, but you're going to make it look even better than this, because you're Tom Hanks. I went into work. It was a Sunday. We were supposed to tape the show on Monday. And we were doing a final rehearsal to make sure that like this would work, and that like we could show Tom how it's going to work, because you only got one shot to like show it to him. And as I'm in the studio and getting ready to do it, the executive producer says, Ari, Tom Hanks is here. Like, he decided he wanted to see it live. He didn't want to see a video of it. He's here. Don't mess up. Like, he's gonna watch it live.
So you're there.
So I'm like, okay, like I'm here. So like we did it. And it worked. It was actually, I think, like the best run through of the thing.
Okay.
And then afterwards, Tom like walked over, and I see him like shaking everybody's hand on set, and like he's shaking like the lighting guy, the sound guy, you know, producers, writers, and he comes up to me and like he introduces himself and he's like, "Hi, I'm Tom."
Right.
And like I messed with him back, and I was like, "I'm Tom," because I was like playing him in the thing, and he was like, "No, I'm the real Tom Hanks." And I thought like, wow, like that's unbelievable. That like I know who he is,
Right.
but like for him to say I'm Tom, like I know that.
Right.
So I asked him in the moment. I was like, you know, how is it that like if you don't mind me asking that you're able to like just
Be so normal?
yeah just introduce yourself as Tom Hanks, but say hi, I'm Tom. Like,
Right.
like it's like. Great. It would be like, you know, Rav Chaim Kanievsky walks over to someone and is like, "Hi, I'm Chaim." Like, like it's like,
Right.
what?
Right.
You know,
Just so
no, I won't compare it like that.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know.
No, but just so the people that
Yeah.
watch, you guys should know that it's crazy on set, the hierarchy and stuff
Yeah.
that goes on there. Sometimes like you don't talk to those type of people. Like I'm sure you'll tell us some stories later about
Yeah.
people that were not like that to you, but like for somebody, yeah. Well,
yeah. I want to clarify. Like I wasn't comparing Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Chas v'Shalom, to
No.
Tom Hanks. There's no comparison.
right, but it
like,
is
that
it's like
level.
that.
I'm trying to like
on
show
the shows,
somebody.
it's like
yeah,
that. You don't talk to like
No, yes.
big people. Like you just like
Yeah.
you know they'll get upset at you sometimes if you talk to them. You know?
for sure, 100%. and so I'll bring up a point about that actually. But his response, Tom Hanks' response back to me was, he's like, you know, I know who I am, and I know how famous I am, and he's like, and he said like it doesn't really get any more like famous than being me.
He
Like,
said that.
yeah, like he was saying in a humble way, like it doesn't. His words were like, I know that like how famous I am, like that's how famous somebody could really get. Like if he walks outside, people run over to him. They know who he is. His movies make a certain amount of money at the box office that like are guaranteed to make that amount of money. So he's very famous, and he said like, but the way that I want to live my life is I want people to know that like I'm no better than them.
Right.
That was shocking
Right.
to me because that was my first experience at the Late Late Show with a celebrity other than James Cordon.
That seemed normal.
Yeah.
We don't know, but
But,
like,
like-
just from that.
Yeah, but that was
seems
like completely like wow.
right.
But then the 3 years that I was there, that was not the norm. People do not act like that. Like it was the complete opposite. And I was just kept thinking like, if Tom Hanks can act like that, there's no reason why you should be degrading people or putting them down or
Right.
like. But that's the industry. Like it
Right.
wraps you in and builds this ego, and it's a lot worse than what you see like on the news. And I started seeing it behind the scenes, and just I kept telling myself like it won't be me when I get there. Something's wrong with them, and it's not gonna be me.
Right.
And so yeah, so I was working for the show, and I started getting promotions. I became a producer, working on Carpool Karaoke, and then I remember thinking to myself, like, is this really, like,
Is this it?
is this it? Like, am I really just gonna keep doing this and like and you know I'll keep working my way up and that's gonna be my life, or is there
Working
something
up
else
to
out
what?
there? Yeah, like, yeah, I felt like there has to be some other thing to find meaning in life. And then I think I was 26 at the time, and once you get to a certain age, you can't go on Birthright for free anymore. You can't get the free trip to Israel. And I had never been to Israel before, and I really wanted to go to Israel.
You knew you
Yeah.
were Jewish. You're just
Yeah.
Totally
Like,
unaffiliated.
Knew I was Jewish. My mom actually raised us. Like I went to a Jewish day school growing up, and my mom.
You knew the basics.
Yeah,
Like Hanukkah.
We did actually almost all of like the major holidays we did. And we actually did like Shabbos meals like at home, but like we would then turn the TV on. I would watch like Steve Urkel or something, but I did have like I had a Jewish identity, and I did incorporate Jewish concepts, I think, into my humor, into my own comedy. So I did have this like burning desire, like go to Israel, like see what's in Israel, like. And so I did. I actually requested time off from work and went on a Birthright trip, and I went for, I think it was like a 10-day trip. And I remember like circling like the last day, like they were bringing us to the Western Wall. And I didn't even know at the time what the Western Wall was. Like,
right.
I knew it was a wall I had seen in pictures that people put notes in and cried. I didn't know what it stood for. I didn't know how it played into any part of our Jewish history. I just was like, I want to see that, and I circled that on like the itinerary. I remember like getting to the Western Wall, and I was just like blown away. Like, I had asked like a Chabad rabbi if I could borrow a pair of tefillin and put it on while I was there, and I don't think I had put on tefillin since I was like bar mitzvah age. And I did, and I like couldn't even figure out how to wrap it on my arm, and I was like crying. I couldn't read the siddur that I had, and
it just hit, like it kind of hit.
It hit me, and I don't think it hit me in a point where I knew that I didn't. If you would have asked me then, I didn't know that. I don't think I would have answered that like, oh, my neshama was screaming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably would have just said that, like. I remember what I said. I like called my mom that night. I was like, I'm not working in Hollywood anymore. I'm staying in Israel. Like I felt something here, and like this is where I feel most at home. I just kept saying I feel most at home here. I have to figure out what it is. And my mom, being the great mom that she is, told me, you can't leave a job like that. Like, don't make an emotional decision. This sounds like it's coming from an emotional place right now.
Yeah.
And if it's meant to be, you'll go back there one day. But like, don't make the decision right then, right? You know. In that state of mind, and that was the right, advice to give me. And I did go back to LA, and then when I went back to working at the Late Late Show with James Cordon, like I was even more like, what is wrong with these people? like I had just felt something in Israel, like just the other day,
right.
and like the more celebrities I would encounter, and I even got another promotion. I was working then in the writer's room at that point. Helping write, jokes for the monologue, the first like 5 minutes of the show when the comedians come out, they like tell political satire or topical jokes in the news, and that's what I was working on, and I just felt like I wouldn't say I wanted to grow, because I didn't know there was a thing. Like, what do you grow? Like, I just wanted to capitalize on what I had felt and not let that feeling fleet away.
Right.
And so then I had gotten like connected. Someone saw me. I was back on like the East Coast,
mm-hmm.
and someone saw me who had seen me like years before. He had known me, and I had met him once before. He's a rabbi, and I met him actually at one of my friend's weddings. And he asked me like what I was up to. And this was a few weeks after I'd been back from Birthright, and I told him I had just come back. I'm working in Hollywood, working for a show, and he was like, I think he could sense that like I wanted to grow, but I didn't know that yet. And he's like, I know the perfect person you have to meet when you're in LA. And he knows a rabbi who does Kirov, who does Jewish outreach in Los Angeles.
Who's that rabbi?
Rabbi Landa, Rabbi Alex Landa.
Okay.
And Rabbi Landa has an organization called LAJ,
right.
Los Angeles Jewish Experience. They just like dropped the E for like the logo. But it's an amazing organization. And Rabbi Landa and Rebbetzin Landa, and like everything that they do is like unbelievable. And I didn't get a phone call from Rabbi Landa himself. I got a phone call from somebody who was working for him at the time, Rabbi Eden Markowitz.
How did they find you?
So this Rabbi Klar, who's the Rosh Kollel of a kollel in Cherry Hill, who I had seen when I was back east. I was at a bar mitzvah, and he saw me.
You started becoming more affiliated and involved in the Jewish scene? After the Israel trip?
After the Israel trip, I got invited to a bar mitzvah. Mm-hmm. And this is a rabbi who, like, whenever my family would do, like, the high holidays, we did go to, like, a from, like, religious synagogue in Cherry Hill. His name is Rabbi Epstein.
Okay.
And I was close with like his kids growing up, like around the holiday times when I would see them, and one of his sons was having his bar mitzvah, so they sent me an invitation.
Right.
And I don't know if they thought that I was actually going to fly back for it or not, but they sent it.
Right.
And I did. I was like, oh, Nachi's bar mitzvah is coming up, like I want to be there for it.
Right.
And I also wanted to see my family, and they were going to be there too to celebrate, so I flew back. And then this rabbi who's Rabbi Klar, who saw me, was there to celebrate the bar mitzvah, and it all like kind of tied together. That he said, what are you doing with your life? And then he knew Rabbi Landa because Rabbi Landa lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey before he moved to LA for some time. So it kind of went full circle that he gave my information to Rabbi Landa. Rabbi Landa gave my information to Rabbi Eden, who worked for him. And Rabbi Eden called me up and said, and I heard that you are looking for someone to maybe learn a little bit with.
Wow.
And
so there you were like halfway in the James Cordon show and with a chavrusa on the side, like signing out to learn with your friends.
It was, I didn't know what a chavrusa was. I didn't know when like.
Did you ever tell them like I'm late to Seder?
Yeah, no. I had actually when I first started becoming religious and people were using like the word Seder, I kept thinking like a Passover Seder, like what is like what's going on?
It's Seder and learning.
It's Seder and learning. I didn't know, but I started learning with Rabbi Eden Markowitz, and it was like once a week I would go to his house. And we would learn. It was just like little things, and I would actually be so excited to leave work. I would like look forward to like my Monday nights. Like I can't wait to get out of CBS Studios and go to the Markowitz's house, and we would just learn. Like we started off, I think, just learning about Shabbos, and then we did, I think, Mesilas Yesharim, and just like little things. We talk about the Parsha a little bit, and for me, it wasn't brand new because, like I said, my mom did send me to a Jewish day school growing up, but it wasn't like I was learning with Rabbi Eden. So I really gravitated toward it. I really loved it, and like Monday nights turned into Tuesdays, turned into me like coming over for Shabbos, and that like really like set it off. That it set the path off that I would start growing, I guess you would say, and becoming more religious. So Rabbi Eden Markowitz kept telling me like you got to go on this Israel trip with Rabbi Landa. I know like you're learning with me, but once a week, twice a week learning with me, you would get so much out of if you went on the LAJ trip. And LAJ is basically like a birthright trip on steroids. That's how Rabbi Landa describes it. That it's all of the activities. It's actually more activities than you do on birthright, but after each activity, Rabbi Landa, the steroids part is that Rabbi Landa actually connects everything to a Torah concept.
I love that.
And
take it to the next level.
Yeah, like you get meaning out of this activity.
Yeah, very good.
And so actually, my wife, not my wife at the time, but she was on the same trip with Rabbi Landa, LAJ, with me, and so we met, and she and I have a lot in common that. Both were doing comedy, and she's actually a child actress with like an unbelievable story of her own. Right. And so we both like started, I guess you would say, like growing while we're on this trip. And I started really realizing that, if everything that Rabbi Land is saying is emes and it's truth, that I am going to have to make certain life changes. So like you started off by asking me like, what did you give up? Like actually it was like more of like, what am I like taking on? Right. And then what am I like giving away? Like I don't want that anymore. Right. And I actually heard a shir by Rabbi Kellerman, who I know you introduced me to Rabbi Kellerman.
I'm a huge Rabbi Kellerman fan.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
My heart will skip a beat when you say his name.
So you're gonna probably know like what like I hope I can't say it the way he said it, because the way he said it was. It's just it's amazing. I forget like what the shir's called. It's online somewhere. But
Simple to Remember. Yeah. You go check Simple to Remember. Listen to all the shir. The most famous one is the story about his kid. You're never alone.
That's unbelievable.
Just a side note.
That's you sent me that. I listened to it. Then I showed my wife. I was like, I'll listen to it again. We have to listen again.
He's awesome. Okay. Anyway.
But he said once that like, how did he quote it? He said like, finding truth, that's not hard. That's actually pretty easy. But living with a life of integrity, that's hard. Living with that life of integrity, that like now that you've found the truth, what are you going to do with it?
You got to walk the walk. You can't just talk the talk.
It's something that Rabbi Landa would like drive home with us. Like I remember like after every Shabbaton we did with him, and at the end of the LAJ trip to Israel, like he would say to us, like everybody had to go around the room and you had to say something that you were going to take on. And like, it's nice to say like, oh, I'm going to take on trying to be nicer to people. Okay, like that's great, and we need people to be nicer to people. But like,
practical.
I wanted to take on something that I knew that like I was going to be able to build upon, and that I had seen. Okay, everything checks out. You know, this is emes. You know, Hashem gave us the Torah.
Right.
I'm Jewish, and it's not enough just for me speaking to just marry a Jewish person. I have to lay some foundation and build upon it for the rest of my life to do the way that to live the life that Hashem would want me to live. Mm-hmm. And it's a process every day. But I knew that like working in Hollywood, I didn't feel personally like it was going to be the way for me to start that mm-hmm. process. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I needed to find some separation, and that's ultimately the decision I made. That right. You know, which led me to leave my career in Hollywood, and I did.
That's crazy. Yeah. And when I first met him, was in show. This guy's like 3 minyanim. I'm wondering if that you were in the James Cordon show. Then were you like saying like I have to go out for a minute?
Yeah.
Were you telling them that? Because
no,
that's like, what must have happened because you were working there still.
There were times when I came back and when I decided like I remember coming back from LAJ and I was like I'm gonna daven 3 times a day, and mind you, like it would take me longer to daven because like I was like I just. Right. I can't keep up with a minyan, right. and it just even takes me longer. I have to show up even earlier just to get my tefillin on. But there were like times in the beginning where like I wouldn't make a minyan, and I remember like I would go into work, and I had to be at work like very early. Sometimes I would put in like 15-hour days, and I would be at work, and I would like do the morning meeting, and then I would like kind of like do everything I had to do, and then like walk outside, go to my car, find like a tree on the CVS lot, and like just put my tefillin on real quick.
Oh my gosh!
Say Shema Shemona Esrei, and my morning brachas, and like then go back inside. Whoa. And like there would be like I remember like a couple times there was like janitors who were like doing landscaping and cleaning up the premises.
This guy gonna blow up the building.
Yeah, they're like, what's going on? And like I would like reassure them afterwards, like no, I'm just doing like some, Don't tell on me.
I just wanted to clarify with everybody. Maybe I just want to clarify this point actually that you were close to these people. He wasn't just like there's many people in Hollywood, and some of the people there are just like sweeping the floors or just like getting coffees for the people, and they say they work in Hollywood. He was actually close to these people. I've spoken to Ari before, and like you were close to James Cordon. James Cordon wanted to come to your wedding, and you wouldn't let him. Right?
Yeah, no, like I felt like when he found out that I was getting married, I was getting married in LA, and I was friendly with people at work, but I always like drew a line because I didn't want to be a part of, even before I was like becoming religious, I was never involved in like the Hollywood party scene. Like it was just like
you had a good heart. You were sincere. Like you had.
I tried. Like I don't know. I just didn't like. The stuff that goes on is like crazy, like holiday parties and like Emmy parties and parties on parties and parties and like the stuff that goes on at these parties. It's not a place that I wanted to be even before.
Right.
And so tying it back into like James, when he like found out that I was getting married, I was in his office and I was going over jokes with him for the day with a couple other writers, and he was like, Ari, I heard you getting married. Like it's like unbelievable. Like, am I getting an invitation? I was like, and like, I don't know why I said this, but I said like, it's just for like family and friends.
Oh.
And like, he was like, I'm not your friend.
Did you get fired?
Yeah, no, like, he was just like, was shocked, and he was like, okay, like,
right.
He just kind of like took it, and he actually had just come off from like hosting the Grammys. So he had like just hosted the Grammys, which is like the biggest award show in like music. Mm-hmm. And then like that was like, I think it was like the next day, like I'm telling him like, sorry, like you can't come to my wedding. Like,
right. What was the reason for that? Why didn't you want him to come to the wedding? Like, what could be so bad? I'm saying.
It's a great question. Like people were actually telling me like, you should have him at the wedding. Like it'll be such a kiddush Hashem. Like you could have him there. And I didn't. Maybe. I think it was easy for them to say that, but they didn't know what would really happen, and And I knew that if I invited him to the wedding, James is like a nice guy. He's a great guy. Like, I have nothing bad to say about James Cordon. But like, if I invited him, the scene that it would have caused would have detracted.
The whole focus would just be on him.
Yeah, like there would have been like the people who know who he is at the wedding would have wanted to take pictures with him and get his autograph.
There goes the whole.
And then the religious people at the wedding who don't know who he is would have been wondering is he the chassan?
Right.
Like,
it's just
who's this guy? And
focus. Right.
nobody would have been focusing like their attention on my wife, and I wanted the attention to be on the kala, like on her.
Wow.
And so.
Wow, that's genuine. That is really genuine.
Yeah. So like I had asked people, like people got married at the show and they invited him. He went to their wedding, and I asked them like, what happened when he came, and they were like, "Oh, it was so cool. Everybody was going, taking pictures." And I was like, "Okay, that's exactly what I
You're done with that life.
Like,
that's amazing that you made such a conscious decision. Like, I'm done with that life. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in MS. I don't care about fame. I don't care about all this."
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone told me like, he'll give you a great wedding present. I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's a good enough reason to like have him there. But
right. Wow. What was what was it when you told him that you're leaving the show? What was that? Yeah. You told me that you had a meeting with him. He sat you down.
Yeah.
He told me actually, James, he was like one of the nicer. He told me everybody's crazy, but he was like one of the more normal. But even he like seems like kind of like depressed or something sad or something.
Yeah, like I was in his office and I told him that I was leaving, and his response to me was, you know, I had just like laid it out. My wife and I had made decision like after we got married that we were going to go spend Shana Rishona in Eretz Yisrael, and I was going to learn, and Baruch Hashem we were able to do that, and so was she. Like I was learning at a yeshiva called Malcham Shlomo in Har Nov, and my wife was learning at Neve Yerushalayim, and it was like an unbelievable experience to be able to do that. So I didn't explain to him that like I'm getting married and I'm going to learn Torah. Like he wouldn't have understood. Right. But I did say like my wife and I are getting married, and I think I said like we're going to go spend a year in Israel, and I'm just gonna like work on myself. I think that's how I explained it. I don't think I even had to tell him that. I could have just said I'm leaving, but I did want him to know like what I was doing to some extent, because I had worked for the show for 3 years and I became like so close with them. And his response back was just it was quite shocking. He said, "Wow, like who works on themselves? Like who?" Especially in Hollywood, like who works on themselves?
He respected that.
Yeah, he was just like shocked.
That's weird that he was like kind of sincere. Like he's like, oh, cool. Like,
I remember like thinking at the time, I was like, oh, I should take my phone out and record this. Like, he's not ever going to like like what?
I thought he would start yelling at you or something.
It was shocking, and he just told me like, you know, I have everything in this world, like. These are his words. Like he's like, I live in a huge mansion in Malibu, like $25-35 million mansion, and he's like the more famous I got, and the richer I've become, the less I pay for, and that's true. Like many times I would be in his office, and there would be like, you know, just something would get delivered, like Nike sends him tons of shoes, or like
he doesn't pay for nothing.
No, like
he gets everything.
Wants to go out to dinner, like calls up a restaurant. Hi, it's James Cordon. Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
We got you.
Well, the bill's on us, the tab's on us. Gosh. Just please come, bring paparazzi so they see you come eat here. Like he doesn't. Mamish does not pay for. I once asked them, how much, do you know how much eggs are? I was just messing around with them. Like, I was like, I have no idea. Like,
he has no clue.
Yeah, these people don't.
Never bought anything in his life. I mean,
he did at one point, but like, who knows how long ago that was. But like at his level of fame, there's no concept of, like, does he have a MasterCard? And does he have like whatever the Amex, the most expensive card is? Yeah, like the one that like doesn't bend? Yeah. But I doubt that he's like checking like, honey, did you make this purchase? And she's like, whatever. But he did tell me like the one thing he doesn't have is like time with his family, and he's married with, you know, at the time he had 2 kids, now he's got 3, and it just made me think, like it was like another thing that like solidified my decision that I would not want to live that life. Like even if I wasn't becoming religious, like what do these people live for?
Okay, so Ari, Before we end for today, we're going to ask you a fun fact about yourself. Before you give a fun fact, I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll say a fun fact about myself. I like to jump into freezing cold water in the middle of the winter. Okay, so if it's 22 degrees, every once in a while, I will go out there into the river and jump inside. And I call that fun. Okay. I think that's fun. Yeah, we just went to the ocean in New York a couple weeks ago with a bunch of guys. Yeah. Okay. So now, tell me a fun fact about yourself.
Okay. A fun fact about me is I try to drink. It's my favorite drink, peach Snapple every day.
Every day?
Yeah, I try.
For health reasons?
Yeah. I feel like it has to be a part of my diet. Like I took this on and I enjoy it so much that I can't go a day without it.
What do you have with peach Snapple? I'm saying, like,
no, my wife, Baruch Hashem, always has peach Snapple in the house. And I don't know. I just something about peach specifically that like I've tried all the other Snapple flavors. And they're good, but peach is the one that like I gotta have.
Are you upset that they changed from glass?
Yes, actually.
To plastic.
What I really think I actually got my hands on a glass one when I was back east.
They still have the glass ones back there?
Yeah, I went to like some deli and like it was like there, and I was like, wow, like the taste is different.
Can I order your whole inventory? Do you taste it tastes better?
I think it holds the taste better.
I agree with you. I agree. I like that. Glass just has a certain taste. I agree with you. Very true. I know. You must be very upset that they switched.
Yeah. Well, there's other things that are worse, but that's pretty bad.
Well, that's a great fact. And last but not least, Ari, what impact would you like to have in this world when your life is over?
Wow, deep question.
What impact? Yeah, because we don't play games. We only live once, so we got to figure this out ASAP. Okay. What are we doing? Let's get going. No, we don't. We don't play games here. Yeah. What impact would you like to bring to the world? What's your game plan?
Okay, so like I started off in the beginning, you know, I always want to make people laugh, make people smile. Wanted to be this famous comedian, and I remember. When I was in yeshiva at Macham Shlomo, the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Gershenfeld, asked me when I was talking to him about what am I going to do for a career? What am I going to do? I worked so many years in Hollywood, and I'm not going back to that. What am I going to do now? Baruch Hashem, right now, like I work for Tom Shabbos in Los Angeles, so I do have.
That's what he does right now. You should just know videography.
I used to do videos like freelance on the side, so I still am able to do something creative. But at the time, I remember Rabbi
check out his channel.
I don't have a channel right now.
Hollywood.
Rabbi Majeski.
Rabbi Majeski. Hollywood. Yeah. Check out his channel. Subscribe.
Yeah. I started helping Rabbi Majeski make videos.
Yeah.
But I remember he said, would you be okay not having a job where you're making people laugh? What would you do? And my response back was, yeah, I'm okay. If that's not my parnasa, I'm okay with it. And I said I would still get enjoyment, and actually more enjoyment, if I was just making my family laugh and making friends laugh, making other people laugh. And I actually, so the thing I want to leave in the world is not that I want to like leave an impact that I made people laugh. I just want to leave an impact that I was able to do something meaningful, make people smile, and hopefully inspire people. Whether that's with my story or whether that's with how I act on a day-to-day basis. A big thing that Rabbi Gershenfeld would drive home about Macham Shlomo is he said that, you want to walk around this world and have other people point and say, wow, there's something different about that person.
Right.
And that's what being a Yid is. That's what being a Jew is. That you have the obligation to be different, and it's actually a privilege to be different, and to be the way that Hashem wants us to be. So I want to be able to leave this world by people saying like he lived a life that was a genuine life, and he lived a life that I can maybe learn something from, and hopefully I'll be able to do that. We'll see.
Wow, that is huge. This is the Kosher Vids podcast. We do not charge. It's for free. What you can do for us is subscribe. How do you subscribe? What do you do?
Subscribe?
Yeah. How do you subscribe on YouTube? You click
you
the
click it.
yeah, just smack it, smack
And
the
share it,
subscription,
share
and
it
share.
around.
Yeah, I'm saying once you just click the subscription, you might as well just share. Once you're at it, you know what I mean. And oh, by the way, there's a bell on the side. What does it say? You don't even know what the bell says.
What does the bell say?
The
Like
bell says notifications. That makes sure that you get an email when we come out with a new video. So all these things are important for us because it brings up, if you like it, you subscribe, you share. That's the way that you can help support us because that makes our videos big. And that's what you can do for us. Are there any channels or anything that you would like people to find you at?
right now, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't have anything, but I would just say support Akiva,
Yeah.
Kosher Vids.
Yeah, he knows what to say.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you
Okay.
for watching.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And have a wonderful day.